Hey everyone, and welcome to another live challenger commentary from a SkillCapped expert. This guide comes from our website, SkillCapped.com, where we have over 500 Smurf commentaries by the top players and coaches, teaching you exactly how to escape the rank that you're stuck in. There's 14 brand new commentaries added each week, and a site-exclusive feature where our challenger experts will answer any and all questions that you have. All of this and so much more can be unlocked at our website, SkillCapped.com, so click the link in the description below, head to SkillCapped.com, and get the rank you've always wanted.
Hey everyone, and welcome to SkillCapped Smurf Commentaries. My name is Coach Kyber. I am a Grandmaster Peak coach with over 1,000 students, and in this game we are playing Lulu in Silver Elo. Now in this one we are playing Jinx Lulu, which Jinx is probably one of the best AD carries in the entire game right now. She synergizes very well with Lulu due to the fact that I can keep her alive for a very long period of time. So this was just a short trade. We're not really going to get that much out of it. Maybe a bit of poke on the Seraphine. But like I was saying, Jinx is probably one of the best ADCs in the game right now. She synergizes very well with Lulu, considering I can give her such a large amount of attack speed. And once she gets to 1 or 2 items, my job of keeping her alive in these team fights is going to be a very big importance. And if I can do that, then we can very easily win the game out. Now, the enemy team does have a large amount of CC that can potentially lock us down. This can be remedied with something like a Mikhail's Blessing later into the game. But in terms of the laning phase, in levels 1 to 5, we are going to play a little bit safe. Tristana can jump on us very easily and get a massive amount of damage off, which could be a problem. So if she does that, then the first thing I'm going to look to do is just polymorph her, and then we're just going to leave it at that. My polymorph is going to be held primarily for when she jumps, or if I can get a massive amount of poke off, but most of the time it's going to be held for if she jumps. And if I can do this, then that's going to make this early laning phase very easy. When we get to level 6, it becomes a lot simpler, because when we get our ultimates, we can do a very large amount of damage very easily. Now we are going to take a lot of poke here, even earlier into the game. The only issue with this lane is Seraphine does have a very long range. Now because of this, it means that she can poke us out very heavily, and we just have to play very safe. So avoiding walking up too far, avoiding getting hit by things like Comet there, even though it hit the Jinx first. These are things we need to try and preserve our HP and just farm as safe as possible for now, especially until level 3. So levels 1 to 3 in a matchup like this, you have to just play really safe. Avoid going near the tower, because that bomb will do a lot of damage to you. And just play as safe as possible. So Shen did get first blood here. I do have slightly more aggressive runes, because at level 3 we can get a little bit of aggression off. So even here, I can use my E on the minion and then Q them. This is going to mean that my Q comes at multiple angles, which is very good. It allows me to be a little bit more aggressive, and it's harder for them to dodge it if I angle it properly. Now again, like I said, before 3 we are going to get pressured very hard. We do want to use our potion and heal up a bit here, because we can't really afford, when we're playing into an all-in lane, to stay low HP like we were. Viego is around topside, so we are to be wary that their Amumu might show on that crab. Okay, so their Amumu is topside too, which is good for us. It means we can play a little bit safe. Now, we don't really want to walk up in this situation, because they are in advantage in terms of XP, and it's very hard for us to really do much. So again, 1 to 5 we're playing very safe. This jungle matchup is very... It's one-sided if the Viego gets a kill or 2, but if he doesn't, then it's not very one-sided at all, and the Amumu will outscale him. Now, luckily, it's also a matchup that we can influence. If the Viego can get an early kill or 2, or even come to me here. So we can kill this Amumu here right now, and now he can take the Amumu's body. Okay. So this turned out really well. We did manage to move and get there in time to... Okay, so we didn't manage to kill the Triss there, but we did get a massive amount of poke. So now this pressure has shifted. So from this play, the pressure dynamic in this lane has shifted just slightly. Because right now, we can get a little bit more pressure, and also Tristana gets denied this huge wave. Now, because she gets denied such a big wave, that's really, really good for us. Okay. So, unfortunately, we do have to reset here. I can get boots though, so that's good. We are going to reset a little bit further back, just because we want to be safe from the Seraphine so that she doesn't manage to get damage off on us. So now we actually do manage to get very early boots, and we don't really need to buy any potions because we've got these biscuits. So now what we're going to actually do is we're going to get Sweeper, and we're actually going to walk through mid lane, because the fact that this wave is in this position means it's actually going to push in. So what we can do is we can try and maybe get a gank on this Yone. Even if we don't manage to get much in terms of pressure, we can clear out his control ward and also push this lane in to allow the Lux to reset, just because right now she's in a position where it's very hard for her to actually do anything. Now, unfortunately, she did die before I managed to get there, which is not good for us. We can still look to clear out some of this vision, though. And we can gank him, actually. Okay. Now we can keep going. So, we'll leave it there. We're just going to pop a biscuit, because we do have 3 of them. So we can just pop biscuit and rely on healing from that while we go bot. Now Seraphine is missing, so I do want to go the safe way, just because Seraphine is off the map and she is actually here. So it's a good idea. It's a good thing to make sure that you're paying attention to the map at all times, because right there, if we weren't, then that could have been pretty bad. So I did have to use my flash here, because they did move. Shen did have ult, which is really nice for us. So I'm going to come into this fight anyway and see if there's just anything I can do. Maybe keep them alive. Okay, so this worked out very, very well for us. I did have to burn my flash early into that, but it was okay. So now we are just going to quickly get this. I can give the Jinx a large amount of attack speed, which can really help us do this very, very fast. I should have shielded the Lux there. Okay, so we did just get a lot there. I'm going to reset just because I need to replenish my HP. Now this game is very messy and we are ahead by quite a lot. So what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to purchase a Dark Seal. Now the reason I'm actually purchasing this is because in these very messy games, Dark Seal only costs 350 gold, and as you can see it does still sell for only 40%, but I can still sell it later on if it doesn't actually equate to anything. But if these games are quite messy and I'm confident that I can stay alive, I can just stack Dark Seal stacks, and that will actually allow me to do quite a lot of magic damage later into the game anyway, which can be very, very useful. Now, this Jinx is reset again, so even though I'm quite low in terms of level, I am just going to go mid lane and see if I can potentially help them get a kill here. If I can't, that's fine. I'm going to prioritize clearing out this vision instead, just because I've got a sweeper. So I can clear out this vision, and then we're going to go back bot lane as the Jinx gets back into lane. Now, Seraphine did move too. And the Amumu is mid, but I am just going to go back into bot lane because this wave is now slow pushing in. So I don't really have much of a roam timer when this wave is slow pushing in, because there's nothing that this Jinx can do to stop this wave coming in. So if I come down here right now, we can actually go very aggressive on this Tristana and maybe even kill her. Okay, so she used jump, which now allows Jinx to push this in without fear of the Tristana jumping on top of her. Okay, so that was quite a substantial amount of damage. So I am just going to look for my EQs in this lane just to try and poke Tristana out whenever possible. So unfortunately that did catch me. So like I said, my plan now is to get to level 6, and then as soon as we're level 6 we can go way more aggressive. So So again, we're just waiting for this level 6. I could have instantly jumped on Tristana there, but... Okay. So Jinx to get level 6 first, which I didn't get mine yet because I was rotating, but now it means that we can get some of the plates. Although... I'm going to give Jinx movement speed. Okay, so Mumu was actually in this bush, so it was a little bit greedy to go for the Seraphine there without having information on where the Mumu was. The Jinx did get shut down from that, and we didn't actually manage to finish that plate. It's not the end of the world because the Triss does still lose a lot. She lost a lot in terms of waves, and, you know, we're really, really strong now. So I'm 0, 1, and 6 at this point. We're very ahead. My main priority in order to snowball this game now is going to be to get a Shurelya's. Now the reason I'm going Shurelya's is because as it got changed, it now actually gives ability haste. Now because it gives ability haste, that is very, very good for Lulu, because my goal is to use my abilities and rotate through them as much as possible in these fights. And if I actually manage to do that, then that's really good for me. I'm just going to come in. Okay, so we can just get that poke off. So, like I was saying, ability haste. Okay, so we actually managed to get a kill on both of them. I ulted the Viego just so that I gave him a bit more HP on the tower. I could have maybe not, but it also did knock them up, which meant that we could get an easier kill off on them. And there we go. So there's another kill. So by just locking down the Amumu, that was really, really beneficial for us. And now I'm just going to speed him up to get him out. We can push this extra wave just because it's a normal wave. If it was a cannon, we probably wouldn't be able to. But if this Yone jumps in, we can instantly polymorph him. So that's really good for us. We'll just escape. We are still quite a substantial amount of gold away from the item that we need, but that's okay. Now, like I was saying, Shurelya's did get changed so that it now gives haste in its passive, which is very good for Lulu, because in these later team fights, the more you can get your abilities off, the easier it is to keep everybody alive. And the fact that your abilities have multiple usage on pretty much every basic ability means that I can actually use them either aggressively or defensively depending on how the team fight is looking. So if I play it properly, then I can really, really do a lot in these fights. I am gonna look to ignite her since she got very aggressive there. So at this point we are very, very strong. We're going to try and unlock our lane right now, take this tower, and then after taking that tower, because it's only 13 minutes, we're going to rotate into other lanes. So we're going to go into mid lane primarily because there's no real plates to go and the dragon still hasn't been taken yet. So what we can do is by rotating into mid lane, we can unlock that lane, and then as soon as mid tier 1 and especially tier 2, but only really tier 1 is down, we can then rotate into their jungle consistently and just completely take their entire jungle over and over. So right here, Viego is taking this dragon. I did want to get some vision down in their jungle, but honestly, this game has been very messy so far, so there hasn't really been that much opportunity to ward. I am going to come and buff him though, to see if we can maybe do something, but we can't, unfortunately. The next objective is going to be this herald, so we're going to clear out all the vision and also put our own vision down. So we are going to just fill this entire area full of vision. Okay, so he did gift me a blue buff here. Okay, so even though I did die here and I did lose my stacks, the Viego is strong enough to just kill everybody, especially with the Shen ultimate. So he's actually strong enough to kill everybody there. So now I've got my Shurelya's, which is really, really nice. And I'm also going to go an Ardent. Now this is because I have an attack speed carrying Jinx, who is very strong. And I also have a Viego, who is also very strong. So it's going to actually benefit both of those and allow them to do a lot more. We do have a win condition of an Infernal Drake as well. So as long as we can secure that too, then that's very, very good for us. Now our main priorities in this game is going to be to make sure that we have vision at all times throughout their jungle, purely because when we have this much pressure, there's no excuse not to have vision. We now have Shurelya's, which also got changed to give a movement speed boost to anybody that you shield. And because of this, it means that I can use it very aggressively to EQ and then maybe polymorph, or I can use it to chase somebody down or start a fight. There's multiple usages for this item that's really, really good for us. So right now, there's another fight going on. So we are going to get here in time. And we're going to do a considerable amount of damage. So the Jinx manages to get him too, and now we're going to polymorph the Viego so that he dies as well. I can give him more movement speed. Unfortunately, he jumped back because of how the Yone E works, but that's okay. So right now we do have a lot of stacks of Dark Seal. We are very, very strong. We have clear win conditions around the Jinx, just getting ahead as possible, and also the Viego being very strong. So at this point, through some good roams and a lot of pressure on the map, we do actually manage to do a lot, especially considering they don't seem too comfortable with their laning phase bot lane. So the goal from here on out is to just keep clearing out their jungle camps, put vision in their jungle as much as we can, and just keep this snowball going. The next really big power spike that I'm going to get is going to be my Ardent. So we're going to shield him. Okay. Okay. We're just going to Shurelya's so that we can stay on top of them. And now we are actually going to just leave. We can... Okay. So we could have given him a shield if he walked towards us, but he didn't. So that's fine. Now, that was a big shutdown to give away, but it's not going to change the outcome of the game. We do need to basically make sure that we get these people out. So what we can do is we can, with Shurelya's, due to the fact of it giving mobility, we can shield one and we can W the other. So they're both going to get mobility, and we can also use our Q to just slow them as much as we can, just so that we can really navigate these fights and get both of these, the Shen and the Lux out. And this is one of the applications of Shurelya's. You can continuously give them movement speed over and over, which is really, really good. Okay. So Jinx wants to continue fighting here. We can. And see, so right here we can just continuously chase them down, and the reason we managed to actually get this kill is because we were buffing this Jinx throughout. So now we do have a large amount of gold. We're going to reset and spend it. We are only going to be able to spend part of it because we don't have enough to finish that yet. Our Dark Seal is at 10 stacks. So like I said, because this is a very messy game and we were confident that we were going to be able to stay alive, especially because it's low elo, we can build this item and just claim the stacks, which we do have 181 AP off it, which we're currently getting a big amount of AP just from the item alone for having 10 stacks. So we don't actually need to build it into a Medjai's, because Medjai's isn't really gold effective on the support, especially considering you want your supportive items, but getting it on its own can be very beneficial. Now, as you saw in that previous example with Shurelya's, we were using it very, very defensively in order to get people out, and then we ended up switching it up and then using the active aggressively so that we could run them down, which this is one of the main reasons why it's so good on Lulu now, because it's kind of the same as how Staff of Flowing Water used to work. but instead it's now on Shurelya's. It's not exactly the same. There is a cooldown on it, whereas there wasn't on staff, but it's still very, very effective. Now what we're going to do here is we're going to walk throughout the jungle, ready for this Baron to come up, and we can maybe kill this Riven on the tower actually. Okay. So again, using it to just catch up, getting on top of them as easy as possible is just really, really important. Now, to close this game out, all we really need to focus is on making sure that this Jinx stays alive. We've already done our job of getting her through laning phase, which is really good, and now we just need to keep her alive in these team fights, and she can just completely 1v9, which is really, really important. Now, after we've taken this Baron, we want to all reset at the same time, just so then everybody can get mana, spend their gold. We've got an Ardence in base now too, so this actually allows us to all reset. Now, we do want this item, but we do need some more levels for it yet. They don't really have a considerable amount of healing, so we could actually just build into Staff of Flowing Water as a final item. They do have CC, but at this point they're not really ahead enough that they can just completely shut us out with that CC. So the Mikaels, even though it's a perfectly viable option, we're going to play a little bit more greedy by going for our Staff of Flowing Water, just because it's going to benefit us that little bit more. Okay, so we can actually chase her down. Okay, so we weren't actually fast enough to chase her down fully. She does have a large amount of movement speed, or mobility should I say, so that's fine. Again, we're just looking to play team fights as far back as possible, just playing safe and keeping Jinx alive. And as long as we do that, as long as nobody gets on top of us, such as the Yone, then we'll be fine. So we just have to dodge the reach of his W. So this is something that you should always be looking to do in your games. When they are trying to reach you with things like a Yone ult, making sure that you're positioning correctly around it. So that was an example of how to play Shurelya's Lulu. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you next time.
And remember, this guide comes from our website SkillCapped.com, where we have over 500 Smurf commentaries by the top players and coaches teaching you exactly how to escape the rank that you're stuck in. Not only that, but we release 14 brand new Smurf commentaries with cutting edge builds and meta champions every single week. And if that wasn't enough, we have a site exclusive feature where you can ask the Challenger expert any question you want, anything you're struggling with or confused about, and are guaranteed a response by them. All of this can be unlocked for as little as $5 a month and is backed by our rank improvement guarantee. That means a full refund if you don't improve. That's not all, you also get the most comprehensive League of Legends training on the internet with over 900 videos and 150 courses teaching you exactly what you need to know to improve. So what are you waiting for? Click the link in the description below, head to SkillCapped.com and join the hundreds of thousands of satisfied SkillCapped members and get that rank you've always wanted.